Hey guys, Lucas from iExplore here. Today we're exploring Ikebukuro at night, doing some street photography, and I have the Nikon 3514 for zoom out, which came out fairly recently. I haven't used this lens that much, so this will be my, little like own tests and impressions of it. And I also have the Viltrox 27 1.2 for APS-C in my bag to compare. And it seems like a weird comparison, but it's going to make sense because I'm kind of torn between these two lenses. So we'll talk about that. Of course, if you want to support the channel, there's always Patreon. We're very appreciative of all of you who support us on Patreon. That's awesome. But also, if you ever come to Tokyo, take a workshop with me or one of the other guys. And we do also offer a map of Tokyo photo spots, over 500 locations on the map right now. That's a great way to support the channel and get to know the city a little bit and find all these cool spots, many of which are right here in Ikebukuro behind me. All right, so let's get on to the video.
iExplore.
Yeah, so I got this lens, I don't know, like a month ago, less than that, but I haven't had many chances to shoot with it. It's summer. I'm not going out shooting that often. There's less workshops at iExplore because we're just, not a lot of people come to Japan, so it's not a busy time. And I've been kind of stuck at home editing photos and trying to avoid shooting. But I shot with it a bit, and so far I like it. I traded in my 40mm f2 for this. So those of you, a lot of people ask me about that lens. I traded in some other stuff too, but that was one lens that I gave up because it's just too similar. I thought I don't need both of these lenses. This one's more expensive. I'm gonna shoot something right here. But I'm not sure how I feel about it because around the same time, so we're gonna shoot this wide open here. Around the same time, I got my hands on the Viltrox 2712, and that kind of fills a similar role for me, right? I'm gonna go a little bit more inside actually. I didn't shoot anything yet. I wanna shoot this locker passage, and produce a ton of bokeh. Every once in a while someone comes through there and it looks really cool. I will at one point, I'm not gonna keep switching lenses to that other lens right just yet, but there will be some places where I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna switch and like do the same scene with both lenses. But so far I am liking this lens. I also wanna get a shot of unfortunately this door is closed here. Maybe this guy's coming out. Oh yeah, here we go. That wasn't that interesting, but I did get a cool one of him walking away and then his shadow on that wall. That was pretty cool. I like how that turned out. The last moment I changed my shutter speed there because I was only on a 50th for the other shot. Well, this guy's maybe coming out too. Okay. Nice, that was cool. Oh, here we go, someone's going in there. It was okay. I don't know if Axel kept up. But yeah, the problem with that little passage, and I knew that, is that when you're on a fast shutter, all those fluorescent lights in there mess up the colors. So the colors got messed up because I left it on 250, but that's okay. Let's keep going. We shoot some other stuff around here. But yeah, so I thought, okay, this is a nice upgrade from the 40 f2 because, I'm gonna shoot something here real quick, because, well, it's a 1.4 and it's a 35. And funny enough, I've only ever owned one 35mm lens in my life, and that was the DX 35 1.8, 1.8G, which I think a lot of people have used in the Nikon universe. This guy's pretty cool, but he kind of was just standing backwards to me. Anyway, so that lens was not really a 35 because I was using it on an APS-C camera, and it was like the equivalent of a 50. So this is my first true 35 that I've owned for a full frame camera, which is funny, right? Because it's a very popular focal length a lot of people use, but I've always used 40s. So I thought, okay, let's do this 35, let's go a little wider and then also have a bigger aperture, and it's probably a little sharper. And I think it is probably a little sharper than the 40, but I didn't have a chance to compare it because, like I said, I traded that in. I sold that lens and then I bought this one. So I never really compared them head to head in the same situations. But that's okay. Hold on a second. There's some people coming. It'll make a good scene here. And of course, when it rains, it pours. Way too many people all at once. Maybe this is a good chance actually to compare the two lenses, like I was saying, because I like these pipes on the wall that are very shiny. and they create this nice highlights that kind of will show the difference. So I'm gonna switch lenses real quick. All right, so with some movie magic, I've instantly switched to this lens. It took a few seconds. And so let me just take the same shot first before I blab about it. And I gotta back up a little bit, right? Because this is a little bit narrower field of view, okay? And it's producing more or less the same exposure. The camera's metering it the same way. Cool. And then we'll keep going with this lens for a little while. I'll switch back at some point. So, yeah, so why compare them? Because it's like a totally different experience, because now this is, this is cropped, right? This is not APS, this is an APS-C lens, so I'm shooting full frame, sensor that's cropping, and it's ending up, fairly tighter than even the 40 mil. Let me actually do some math here. The crop factor on Nikon is not actually 1.5, it's 1.53, which I found out when researching this lens. So if I do 27 millimeter times 1.53, it ends up being a 41.31 equivalent, field of view, like a 41.3 millimeter lens. So it's a little bit tighter than the 40 f2, and of course way tighter than the 35. So it's different, but it's like close enough that I'm going to use them in very similar situations in very similar ways, right? That's the idea. Okay, let me see. There's a shot I want to try over here. Okay. Nice. I got a cool moment there, a cool effect. I quite like it. But all right, let me change lenses back, because this video should really be about the 35. I'm just having this one just to kind of compare. So I'm going to switch back now. All right, movie magic. I've switched back. I'm probably going to try to take this shot again with this other lens just to compare with the exact same settings. All right. It'll be a slightly different shot. But yeah, just looking at it here, like it does look a little softer on the 35, We'll maybe get one more real quick. All right, let's keep going. Let's go this way. So the trade-off for me is this, or the trade-off that I don't mind, is by using the crop lens. Sure, I'm losing resolution, right? Because it crops by that same factor of 1.53, but squared. So you end up losing, I think it goes from 45 megapixels down to like 19 point something. Basically, let's just say 20, it's like just under 20. And I'm fine with that, because a 20 megapixel image is still huge. It's huge. So like, I don't care that the Viltrox 2712 crops down that far. So why did I get this lens? Because I received, not just me, but iExplore received that 2712 before I got this. But I just thought, well, but it's full frame, so let's compare. And this is where I'm torn now. This is why I'm comparing these two lenses. The comparison probably nobody asked for. Why am I comparing a full frame lens with an APS-C lens? But they are, for me, like I already said, very similar use cases. And there is a small benefit of the other one. It is a 1.2 versus a 1.4. So in theory, I think that's 2/3 of a stop more light. It seems like a small difference, but once you, let's go in there. But once you get to that low end of the scale on the apertures, 1.2 and 1.4 is a big difference. So I think it's 2/3 of a stop. So there's quite a bit more light coming in. I don't know if the camera metered it differently. It might have, yeah, no, the ISOs were quite a bit higher. Yeah, on the 1.4. So like, unfortunately, I also changed my shutter speed, which was silly of me. But I was on a 400th and 500 ISO, and then I was on a 500th and 900 ISO. So that's a big increase in ISO for the same exposure on the 35. Now the frame's a little different, so there's also that, but the math checks out. Like, that extra bit of aperture is nice. So it's a cool little bonus. I get more aperture, I lose a bunch of resolution that I don't really care about. The file sizes are smaller. And so this is where I'm at. So I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna keep this 35 from Nikon. I might actually trade this in for something else entirely, and I'll stick with the Viltrox as my main street photo lens. All right, maybe let's try out some bokeh stuff here with this kind of foreground, obstruction to create a nice bokeh effect. I mean, it's a similar shot to what we already did, but it's pretty cool. And by the way, I do find that the 35 doesn't, I don't want to judge it too hard, but like, it doesn't always focus perfectly. Like when I started using it, sometimes it kind of misses focus. I use the 3D tracking focus mode, which is I put the little square, little focus point on my subject, then I, hit the back button to focus, and then I let the camera track. And it loses the face track sometimes. Other lenses I've used, from Nikon, they don't do that. They're fine, they're great. And then the Videotrax also focuses really well. But this, I didn't compare in like a very strict sense where I use the exact same situation, the exact same light and all that stuff. So it's very anecdotal, but that was just my impression that like with the Videotrax 27, I had just awesome results for focus, and then with this 35, I'm sometimes sort of like, oh, why did it misfocus? Like, how did it lose the track? What's going on? That kind of thing. Let's go over here. Oh, this is kind of cool. I like this just cluster of nastiness, like wires and stuff with this lamp. And here we can go back to wide open. Why not? Yeah, I'm focusing too much on the detail here. I think a wider shot is better. That includes this sign. And then I would love to have somebody going by. I'm gonna try to get this dude who's coming to walk through this scene, hopefully, and still be like part of it. He might be like going wide around. Maybe if I do landscape. Yeah, that was okay. That again, almost the lens kind of, or whatever, it's the camera, the lens, things almost went wrong. I got it in the end, but like, that's better. But I try to focus the last moment on the lamp. And then my trick there is I'm not trying to track the person coming, I'm just focusing on the lamp. And when the subject is, exactly, at the same distance as like the lamp and that sign, well then I know they're in focus, even at f1.4. It's just like an instant zone. I'm just creating a zone, saying, so I don't have to focus on them, which is a common misconception I find on workshops. A lot of people get confused by that. They think they need to focus on the subject, which makes sense, right? But as long as they're at the same distance as whatever else you're focusing on, they will be in focus. So in a scene like this, it's very easy. Like those two signs and the lamps, they create this kind of gate that sets the zone in a sense. And when people pass through there, they will be in focus. So instead of trying to focus on them, which is tricky, you got to time it right, camera needs to perform, all that stuff, I just focus on the lamp, and then when they're at the same position, boom, they're in focus as well, right? And let's confirm that, let's see how that looks. Indeed, perfectly sharp, okay? Not a very interesting subject at that time, but Okay, so now I am gonna try this scene again on the Videotrax. Okay, but let's see, let's have one more person maybe walk through. Could even be this dude from behind, that's fine. Oh no, there's too many people though. Oh, that's kind of cool. Little bow. Oh, here we go. All right. There we go. Not the most, again, mind-blowing subject, but we got something. And again, it just looks sharper to me, like just right here on the back screen. Again, could be a DOF kind of thing, something like I was saying, like the focal length's a little shorter, a little more DOF, maybe that's making things sharper. Well, then we got one more try, might as well. All right, there we go. Nice. And then I'll probably compare that to the earlier shot. I don't remember exactly how I framed it, but close enough, I'm sure. Yeah, I got the whole sign here. So let's do it that way. Okay, then I'm just gonna get one more of just the lamp, just to have that comparison. All right, we'll keep going. All right, so I feel I've compared the lenses enough. I'm probably not gonna keep switching at this point. I did my couple comparisons that are, again, more even for me than for anybody online, because I feel like this is the comparison that nobody asked for. But from here, we'll just shoot, this area with the 35 just as it is, because it is a great lens. I mean, don't get me wrong. Despite me being picky about stuff, it's pretty cool. Here, I love this view. This is a classic Ikebukuro view for me. Love it. Great. So, why 35s and 40s? What is so special about this focal length to begin with? That's another kind of question, I guess. And for me, the easiest, simplest answer is that you can, we have this adage, we say zoom with your feet, right? Which really is not true, because zooming and moving are different things, because moving changes perspective and zooming does not. But what we mean by that is just if you want something bigger, you get closer. If you want something smaller, you get farther away. And that's, again, not exactly the same as zooming, but it works. It gets the job done. So we say zoom with your feet. And I feel like around 35 or 40, that is the most zoomable focal length, where you can really, you can really take a portrait, you can take a landscape shot, you can take a pretty wide shot. Of course, you do need the room. Like if something's right in front of you, you're not going to get a wide shot of it. And if something's really far away, you're not going to get a tight shot of it. You need like a long telephoto focal length. But 35-ish just works in a lot of situations on this normal human scale. There's also that idea that they say it's similar, like 35 to 50 is similar to what the human eye sees. Let's go in there. I honestly don't know. No, let's go over here. Actually, no. I honestly don't know what that means. Like what the human eye sees. I'm still kind of vague on that because I have two eyes and I see wider on the sides than I see vertically and blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna get a quick shot here. Not the most interesting subject, but I just love the neon sign above. So I'm gonna try that actually from the other side as well, because the neon is better there. Cool. Wide open, looks great. I'm gonna step back a little bit, try a little slightly wider version. And you see, I just zoomed with my feet. I leaned forward a little bit. First I stepped back, and then I leaned forward. I genuinely didn't plan that. I was literally talking about it, and then I did it without even thinking, because that's what you do. And these focal lengths around this distance, I would say even as wide as 28. From 28 to 40, that's my sweet spot. And most photographers, I'm not unique in saying that. That's the focal lengths where you can adjust things by getting a little closer or getting a little farther without changing things too much. But like if I had a 200 and I'm shooting something, 100 feet away with a 200 millimeter, if I take 3 steps forward, it changes almost nothing in the framing, right? Because it's a small relative difference in the distance compared to the total distance to the subject. And with these focal lengths, the subjects being roughly the size that we want them, we're at a distance where a few steps make a big enough difference, but not such a big difference that it's unusable, right? Like with a very wide lens, for example. So I think that's why these are so popular. Let's keep going this way. Let's get a shot of this ratty old 7-Eleven sign here. We're going to do that on f2. I love how it's lit. Okay, awesome. I love these kind of things. Pretty sharp all the way through. Let's just crank it up to f8, because I really want the whole thing. Because I'm shooting from a slight angle, the perspective is, shifting the perspective is shifting the focal plane, and I'm trying to get the whole thing sharp. So, I think 5.6 achieved that. Yeah, so I'm gonna go back wide open and back to a 500th just to be ready for something fast. So, this is just a short video. I haven't shot that much tonight, but I don't think I've really solved my dilemma of the choice between these two lenses, the 35 and the 27 Viltrox. But I should point out though that this is only really applicable, I think, to people shooting with like a very large, sensor, or like a high resolution sensor, so like a 45. Because if I was using a Z6 with a 24 megapixel sensor, it would be a no-brainer. I would use the 35 because the Viltrox would crop it down to like, I think, under 10 megapixels, which is starting to get a little slim on the pixels, right? Let's go left here. Actually, no, let's go out there and then go left out on the bigger street. Let me get a quick shot over here. Sorry. Just make you stop. Axel. Yeah, I just like the ambiance of the lights here. And I want to focus on this foreground, because one thing I like about these big aperture lenses is you can focus even at this distance on something not too far in the distance, and then the background becomes really soft, relatively soft, and it gives it a nice kind of 3D pop effect, which my old Voigtlander 40 really had really strongly. That lens was awesome, wide open. Over here, I love this liquor store. I love the logo of this old school, like, samurai looking dude holding a Budweiser. Love it. Let's shoot that. And this I can definitely do on a slow shutter. And say f2, don't need to do this wide open. Nice. Maybe, yeah, let's try it wide open just to see what it looks like. Do one shot here. All right. Nice, that's pretty cool. Had to underexpose it to get the highlights in there. All right guys, so that's it. 3514 from Nikon for Z mount. I like it. I'm still not decided what I'm gonna do, but I think my little conundrum is unique to me. So again, I'm pretty sure I titled this video the comparison nobody asked for. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video, and remember always, challenge your eye. Oh, you're still here. Well, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That really helps us out, with the algorithm. But since you're here, I want to remind you guys the different ways you can support this channel. The best one being coming to Tokyo or Kyoto and taking a workshop with us, or me or one of the other guys on the team. That's a huge help. Of course, we have some other things that we offer. For example, you can purchase a map of Tokyo photo spots. Currently, there are over 500 locations on the map, useful for planning your trip in Tokyo or exploring the city. Also, I do have a book out called Tokyo Unseen, so please check that out. And I do sell prints, so if you'd like one of my photos as a print, check that out as well. But last but not least, there is Patreon. Those of you who support us on Patreon, we're extremely grateful, and anybody who's thinking about it, we'd really appreciate that. That is another way to get access to the photo spot map. All right. And last little tiny thing, there are referral links to all the gear and stuff that we use in the videos, so just clicking on those links helps us out as well. And of course, all the other things I mentioned are also linked in the description. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching to the end, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.